Hello, and welcome to the championship game of the Quizmaster Challenge, the academic quiz show featuring the brightest students in Montgomery County schools. I'm Kurt Richter, and I'm the Quizmaster, and today I'll challenge these young minds as they challenge each other in a battle of brains and buzzer speed. We'll see who wins today's match and gets crowned the Quizmaster Challenge champion. Today's finalists are the Bulldogs of Winston Churchill High School in Potomac against the Cougars of Quince Orchard High School in Gaithersburg. Let's get started with our opening round, the Four Corners round. Teams will have a chance to answer blocks of 4 questions worth 20 points each and no penalty for a wrong answer. We flipped the coin before the show and Quince Orchard won the toss. So please choose from today's 4 categories. Last lines, the year 1964, bicycles in literature and film, and the national pastimes.
We'll take the year 1964.
All right. For your first 20-point question, what Fab Four made their U.S. singing debut on The Ed Sullivan Show on February 9th, 1964?
The Beatles.
That's right. Next, 50 years ago, what astronaut announced he would seek nomination as the Democratic senator from Ohio?
John Glenn.
That's right. For another 20 points, just over 50 years ago, the United States government made an announcement in its first Surgeon General's report on what habit that could be hazardous to your health.
Smoking.
Smoking's right. For the final question in the year 1964, the Winter Olympics were held in what Austrian city from January 29th through February 9th in 1964?
Salzburg.
It's Innsbruck. So you got 3 questions for 60 points. Now to Churchill, please choose from one of our last 3 categories.
We have last lines.
Okay. For your first chance at 20 points in the category last lines, the scar had not pained Harry for 19 years. All was well. Are the final sentences of what final book of the popular J.K. Rowling series?
Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows.
That's right. For another 20 points, yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son, are the last lines of what Rudyard Kipling poem whose title is a single 2-letter word? If is correct. Next, Malcolm's line, so thanks to all at once, and to each one whom we invite to see us crowned at Scone, concludes which of Shakespeare's tragedies?
Not one of the normal ones. So.
Richard III.
Malcolm is in Macbeth. And to close out the category last lines, don't ever tell anybody anything. If you do, you start missing everybody. Are the final sentences of what J.D. Salinger classic?
Catcher in the Rye.
Catcher in the Rye. And after those 2, we have 3 questions also, so it's tied up at 60. Now, please choose a category to give to Quince Orchard.
Bicycles and lit.
All right. For your first 20-point question in bicycles in literature and film, in what 1982 film did director Steven Spielberg incorporate bicycles flying across the moon?
E.T. the Extraterrestrial.
That's right. Next, in what 1979 film, which won the Golden Globe for Best Film, did Dave, the main character played by Dennis Christopher, become obsessed with competitive bicycle racing?
He goes to Indiana. He lives in Indiana. It's the fucking...
Need an answer from you?
Cowboys.
It's called Breaking Away. For another 20 points, in what comic historical novel written by Mark Twain does Sir Lancelot and his knights ride in on bicycles to save King Arthur?
A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court.
That's right. And for the final question about bicycles, what science fiction writer, author of Brave New World, also wrote Chrome Yellow, a novel which begins with the main character fretting about getting his bicycle off of the train in which he was a passenger?
Huxley.
Huxley is correct. So now you have 120 points, and we're back over to Churchill with the national pastime. For your first chance at 20 points in the category the national pastime, what team moved to D.C. in 2005 to become the Washington Nationals?
Montreal Expos.
That's right. For another 20 points, what is the oldest active ballpark in Major League Baseball?
Didn't Wrigley just...
Fenway.
Fenway is right. Next, what country outside the United States has contributed the most players to Major League Baseball?
Dominican Republic or Japan.
Dominican Republic.
Dominican Republic.
It is the Dominican Republic. And to close out the category, the national pastime, before moving to Texas in 1972, the Texas Rangers played in Washington, D.C. under what name?
Senators. The Senators.
That's right, it is the Senators. And at the end of our Four Corners round, we have a score of Churchill 140, Quince Orchard 120. Let's now move to our 10-point toss-up round. Teams, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer toss-ups worth 10 points each. There's no penalty for a wrong answer. However, if you're incorrect, the other team will get to hear the entire questions. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. Our first up for grabs is on mythology. What expression, taken from the mythological story of Thetis, who took her baby to the river Styx to gain magical powers?
Quince Orchard.
Achilles' heel.
Achilles' heel is correct. Now a 10-pointer on American history. On June 2nd, 1924, Congress gave citizenship to what group of Americans?
Quince Orchard.
Native Americans.
That is correct. For 10 points on technology, Dean Kamen, a dropout of Worcester Polytech in Massachusetts, invented what two-wheeled, self-balancing battery?
Churchill.
The Segway.
The Segway is right. Let's go to the monitor now for a visual question on art. What American stained glass artist, who lived from 1848 until 1933 and created this stained glass window, was associated with Art Nouveau, created not only stained glass windows, but also lamps, mosaics, ceramics, and jewelry?
Churchill.
Tiffany.
Tiffany is right. Our next topic is literature. For 10 points, in 1837, Hans Christian Andersen published what story that includes a powerful ruler whom people were afraid to tell?
Quince Orchard.
Need an answer?
The Ice Queen.
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. People were afraid to tell he was naked.
Churchill.
New clothes.
The Emperor's New Clothes.
That's right.
Okay.
Our next 10-point toss-up is on film. What now classic 1984 comedy, directed by Ivan Reitman, co-written by the late Harold Ramis and Dan Aykroyd, who along with Bill Murray portrayed experts?
Quince Orchard.
Ghostbusters.
Ghostbusters is correct. And halfway through this round, we have a score of Churchill 170, Quince Orchard 150. Let's continue with the toss-ups with a question on geography. What small country kingdom in Africa has?
Quince Orchard.
Defer. Lesotho.
Yeah, that is correct. Good job. Check the monitor players for this 10-point math question. Simplify this expression.
Churchill.
So 6.
6 is correct. For 10 points on languages, the English word entrepreneur originates from what language?
Churchill.
French.
French. 29% of English comes from that. Here's our next 10-point toss-up on world literature. The ingenious gentleman Don Quixote of La Mancha.
Quince Orchard.
Cervantes from Spain.
Cervantes, who wrote it. Here's a 10-point selected response question on physics. Listen to this list. Vacuum, liquid, solid. Through which of these do sound waves?
Churchill.
Which of these values? Either it be vacuum or liquid.
Vacuum.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Through which of those do sound waves travel the fastest?
Solid.
Churchill.
Through a solid is correct. And to finish off our 10-point round, here's a question on our founding fathers. What American statesman, born in Boston in 1706 and died in Philadelphia?
Quince Orchard.
Benjamin Franklin.
That is right, it is Benjamin Franklin. And at the end of our second round, we have a tied score at 190. So thanks for being here today and congratulations for making it. I'd also like to say thanks to the student crew here at Richard Montgomery High School, who under the direction of Eric Rodney, make our broadcast possible. Let's now move to the third round of play, our 15-point toss-up round. Same rules as before, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer questions, only this time worth 15 points each. No penalty for a wrong answer, but the other team will get to hear the entire question. So hands on your buzzers, and let's get started. Our first toss-up question is on trigonometry. What is the cosine of 60?
Churchill.
One half.
1/2 is correct. Next, for 15 points, here's a question on American history. After the Emancipation Proclamation in 1863, Major George Stearns led a recruitment effort to establish African American regiments in the Union Army.
Quince Orchard.
54th Massachusetts. Massachusetts.
Sorry, that's not what I'm looking for. And approached what orator and statesman, author of My Bondage and My Freedom, who was enthusiastically in support to help recruit enlistees?
Frederick
Churchill.
Douglass.
Frederick Douglass is correct. Players, look at the monitor for this 15-point visual question on Shakespeare.
Quince Orchard.
Hamlet.
Sorry, not what I'm looking for. In this scene from the film version of Hamlet, Laurence Olivier, as Hamlet, is talking to the skull of what jester, whom he referred to as poor?
Yorick.
Churchill.
Yorick is correct. For 15 points, here's a selected response philosophy question. Listen to this list. Positivism, solipsism, or structuralism? Which of these refers to the theory that the self is all that can be...
Churchill.
Solipsism. Self.
Is that the first one?
That's the second one. Solipsism.
The second choice, solipsism.
That's right, you got it. Our next 15-point toss-up deals with American novels. What novel by Edith Wharton?
Quince Orchard.
Ethan Frome.
That's all you needed to get it right. Pick up a pencil and paper and once again check the monitor for this 15-point visual algebra question.
Quince Orchard.
It's 2x. 2x?
Need an answer?
2x?
Sorry, that's incorrect.
64x cubed divided.
Churchill.
What's 64 divided by 36?
2/3. So 32.
2/3 x.
No.
No, I'm sorry. It's 16x over 9. All right, halfway through this round, we have a score of Churchill 250 and Quince Orchard 205. Let's continue with the 15-point children's literature question. What author and illustrator, who died in 2012 at the age of 83, published the now iconic children's book Where the Wild...
Churchill.
I don't know his name.
Sendak.
Yes, Maurice Sendak, Where the Wild Things Are. Here's a 15-point question on geography. Freetown is the capital
Churchill.
Sierra Leone.
of Sierra Leone. That's right. Back to the monitor again, players, for a 15-point matching question on world capitals.
Quince Orchard.
Tbilisi is the capital of Georgia. Doha is the capital of Qatar. Vilnius is the capital of Lithuania. And
Chisinau is
Chisinau is the capital of
Moldova.
Moldova.
Chisinau. Yeah, it's a tough one. That is absolutely right. Here's a 15-point question on world authors. What Colombian author, born
Churchill.
Gabriel Garcia Marquez.
Marquez? That is correct.
Okay.
Here's a 15-point question on quotable quotes. These words of William Lloyd Garrison, I will not retreat an inch and I will be heard.
Churchill.
The Liberator.
They did first appear in The Liberator. And we wrap up the third round with this 15-pointer on American fiction. In what novel by Daniel Keyes does it...
Churchill.
Flowers for Algernon.
That is correct. And at the end of our 15-point round, we have a score of Churchill 325, Quince Orchard 220. We're now going to move to our bonus round. Teams, you'll have a chance to buzz in and answer toss-ups worth 15 points each. And if you're right, you have a chance to earn 20, 25, or 30 bonus points. Again, no penalty for a wrong answer, but the other team hears the entire question. So hands on your buzzers and let's get started. Our first 15-point toss-up is on the cinema, giving you a chance at a 30-point bonus on literary terms. What 2014 animated movie?
Churchill.
Frozen.
Sorry, that's incorrect. Contains characters based on toys sold by a Danish family-owned company founded by old Kirk Christensen in 1932.
Quince Orchard.
The Lego Movie.
The Lego Movie is correct. Here's your bonus for 10 points each and 30 points for all three. Answer this bonus on literary terms. What is a 5-line nonsense poem whose name is derived from a city in Ireland?
Limerick.
Limerick is right. Second, what is the figure of speech giving an animal, abstract idea, or inanimate object characteristics of a human?
Personification.
That's right. And finally, what 3-syllable word describes the use of words to convey a meaning opposite of the literal meaning?
Sure. Sarcasm.
I'm looking for irony on that one right there.
see,
Okay, we're now playing for a 20-point bonus on word origins, but first a 15-point visual toss-up on if they tweeted. Check the monitor, players.
Churchill.
4 gold medals, 36. Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens.
Jesse Owens is correct. For 10 points each and 20 points for both, answer these questions on word origins, specifically words based upon geographical places. First, what word, used as a verb and named for a port in China, means to kidnap into service as a sailor, usually by drugging?
Shanghai.
Shanghai is right. Your second 10-pointer, what dessert, made with ice cream and beaten egg whites and browned in the oven, is named for one of our 50 states?
50 states. Baked Alaska, maybe?
Baked Alaska.
Baked Alaska, that's right. Here's the next, okay, back to the toss-ups. This one on Greek mythology to get a chance at a 25-point bonus on pop music. Known for his laurel wreath, raven, and lyre, what Greek god?
Quince Orchard.
Apollo.
Apollo is right. For 25 points, answer these five-point music questions, pop music questions, by identifying the artists that recorded each set of songs. First, what artist featured on Blurred Lines and Get Lucky, but is the lead singer on Happy?
It's Pharrell Williams. Just say Williams. Pharrell Williams.
Yeah, you got it right. Second, what group had hits with Radioactive and
Imagine
Demons?
Dragons.
Yeah.
That's right. Who is the female pop star who hit the charts with Wide Awake, Roar,
Katy
and
Perry.
Dark Horse?
Katy Perry.
That's right. Fourth, what country singer has had recent hits with Honeybee, Boys Round Here, and Doing What She Likes?
Is this Taylor Swift?
No, it's Blake Shelton. And finally, what popular group hit gold with What Makes You Beautiful?
One
and
Direction.
Story of My Life. One Direction
That
is
is
correct.
sick.
Okay, you knew that. We now have a score of Churchill 360, Quince Orchard 290. We have a 30-point bonus on biology, but here's a 15-point visual toss-up on geometry. Check the monitor.
Quince Orchard.
Icosahedron.
That is right. Good job. Okay, here's a 30-point bonus on biology. First, what has occurred when the precise sequence of bases on a DNA molecule gets changed,
Mutation.
thereby improving or reducing an organism's chance for survival?
Mutation.
That's right. For your second 10-point bonus on biology, what is the name for the third phase of mitosis? When centromeres split, the sister chromatids separate, and one moves to opposite poles of the cell.
Anaphase.
That's anaphase. For your final 10-point bonus on biology, what is the name for the connective tissue found in your nose and ear that is somewhat flexible?
Cartilage.
Cartilage is right. We now have a score of Churchill 360, Quince Orchard 335. Once again, 30 points is up for grabs on Next in Line with the correct response to this 15-point toss-up on the Civil War. What Civil War general ran for president in 1860?
Churchill.
I got it.
McClellan.
McClellan is right. For 30 points, here are 3 10-pointers on Next in Line. Listen carefully to each series and tell me what comes next in the sequence. Genesis, Exodus, Leviticus.
Numbers.
Numbers is right. Roosevelt, Taft, Wilson.
Harding.
Harding is right. Finally, the King's Speech, the artist, Argo.
Ooh, what
was this year's
what won this year?
Oh, 12 years a slave? 12 years a slave.
Yeah.
12 Years a Slave.
12 Years a Slave is correct. Okay, here's a 15-point toss-up on geometry, giving you a chance at a 20-point bonus on art and artists. If the central angle and an inscribed angle in a circle intercept the same arc, and the measure of the inscribed angle is 45 degrees, what is the measure of...
Quince Orchard.
Wouldn't it be supplementary? So it'd be 180 minus 45.
135.
135.
Sorry, that's incorrect. What's the measure of the central angle?
Or
Churchill.
it's the same arc, central angle, so 90.
90 degrees.
90 degrees, that's right. Let's go to the monitor one last time. Here's a 20-point, 2-part question on art and artists. First, who is the Dutch graphic artist shown in this 1929 self-portrait, known for his optical illusions and depictions of impossible constructions?
Or MC Escher.
Probably MC Escher.
Escher.
Escher is right. And now, what was the name of the 1953 Escher lithograph, which features a triangular array of gravity-defying staircases, seemingly as difficult to understand as the Einstein theory with which it shares its name?
Relativity.
Relativity is correct. Here's a 15-point toss-up on world history, which will give you a chance at a 25-point bonus on banned books. What kingdom, which includes the islands of Spitsbergen,
Quince Orchard.
Prussia?
I'm sorry, that's incorrect. Spitsbergen and Jan Mayen only became independent in 1905, having formerly been part of Sweden and Denmark.
Churchill.
Norway.
It is Norway. Answer these 5 5-point questions about banned books. First, in what novel written by Ray Bradbury are books banned and, if found, burned?
Fahrenheit 451.
Correct. Second, what 1929 anti-war novel by Erich Maria Remarque was banned in Nazi Germany for being insulting to its armed forces?
All Quiet on the Western Front.
Correct. Third, what John Steinbeck novel was banned temporarily in California for unflattering portrayals of the area's residents?
Of Mice and Men.
Dude, it could be 8.
Try of mice of men, then.
No. Try of mice and men.
Of Mice and Men.
Sorry, it's The Grapes of Wrath.
Okay, whatever.
What collection of stories by Chaucer was banned from the U.S. mail by the Federal Anti-Obscenity Act of 1873?
The Canterbury Tales.
That's right. And finally, George Orwell found it difficult to find a publisher in 1943 for which of his novels, which metaphorically criticized the USSR, which was an ally of Britain during World War II.
Animal Farm.
Animal Farm is correct. We now have a 30-point bonus on literary pseudonyms if you answer this 15-pointer on astronomy. Which planet is approximately 30 times farther from the sun than Earth?
Quince Orchard.
Valerie, Emily,
Need an answer?
Neptune.
Neptune is correct. Here are 3 10-point questions on literary pseudonyms. For each writer, please give his complete nom de plume. First, what is the first and last name used by Samuel Langhorne Clemens?
Mark Twain?
Correct. What single name was used by French Enlightenment author François-Marie Arouet?
Voltaire?
That's right. Finally, William Sidney Porter used what pseudonym which began with a pseudo-initial?
O. Henry.
O. Henry is correct. Here's a 15-point toss-up on fictional settings to earn a chance at a 20-point European geography bonus. What fictional dystopian superstate punished its citizens?
Quince Orchard.
Oceania?
That is correct, from 1984. You'll earn 10 points for each correct response to these questions on European geography. Which European country shares a border with Poland, Ukraine, and Russia? Need an answer from you.
Belarus?
Belarus is right. Name the mountainous French island in the Mediterranean Sea that is located just north of the Italian island of Sardinia.
Corsica?
That is correct. We have a score of Churchill 475, Quince Orchard 415. Here's your final toss-up of the game on the topic of presidents as you play for a 30-point bonus on algebra. As part of the Truman Doctrine, Harry Truman asked Congress to appropriate $400 million to help...
Quince Orchard.
Marshall Plan?
I'm sorry, not what I'm looking for. To help defend 2 countries against communist aggression, Turkey and what other Mediterranean country whose athletes traditionally lead the parade of nations in Olympic opening ceremonies?
Greece.
Churchill.
Greece is right. Answer these 10-point questions about algebra. First, what do you call an equation which is true for all values of a variable?
True for all values. Absolutely.
Fully defined.
It is an identity.
Okay.
What is the value that represents the middle of a set of data, sometimes known as the second
Or median,
quartile?
sorry.
The median.
Median,
The
yeah.
median.
Median is right. And finally, what is the shape of the graph of a quadratic equation?
Parabola. A parabola.
A parabola is right, and we'll announce the scores in just a minute. But first, I'd like to say thank you to the sponsor of Quizmaster Challenge, Gladiator Trophies, serving the Washington, D.C. area for nearly 40 years. Rewarding life's victories since 1976 is Gladiator Trophies. And at the end of our game, we have our champion, Winston Churchill High School, with a score of 510 to 415. Congratulations. And we thank you at home for joining us this season on the Quizmaster Challenge. All of our programs are posted on the MCPS page. Just go to the MCPS homepage and type in Quizmaster. And this wraps up our 27th season. Thanks to all the student competitors and schools, as well as the great crew here at Rutgers Montgomery. I'll see you next year, reminding you to always keep learning.